Hello, and welcome to the Expanse. Today we're going to be looking at the Brotherhood of the Light, an obscure subsect of paladins that have been around for a very long time, and speculating on how they may have hinted at the confrontation with the Light from vanilla, while also looking at how they may affect the future of Azeroth. Now, it has become very evident ever since Zera tried to Lightforge Illidan, there will be a confrontation with the Light. This, to a lot of people, seemed to be a revelation, and to others it was an inevitable event. For me and the Quacks, it wasn't that shocking, but what we did underestimate is how far back indications of this type of confrontation happening actually go. This is where the Brotherhood of the Light comes in. Who are the Brotherhood of the Light? Basically, the Brotherhood are a faction that the heroes of Azeroth, us the players, have helped on at least 2 occasions, and frankly put, they make the Scarlet Crusade look tame. And I mean tame. Here are 2 quotes from people within their ranks. There are no emotions, there are no morals, there are no zealots, there is only the Brotherhood. What is the Brotherhood of the Light? Well, we are members of the Argent Dawn at the core. Members of the Argent Dawn that aren't held in check by morals, guild, and useless human emotions. Consider us Scarlet Crusade, minus the stupidity, lack of leadership, and blind zealotry. Don't let the Scarlet Commander tell you otherwise. And don't let Tyrannus know that I said that. It would be a terrible shame if I had to brutally maim him should a brawl break out. That last quote was from Vanilla. The Brotherhood has been around for a very long time. The Brotherhood of the Light's guiding principles are to follow the light, without question, doubt, regret, and most importantly, zealotry. The Brotherhood's notions of no zealotry is a surprisingly distinct idea that separates them from the Scarlet Crusade, but connects them to what seems to be the current ideology of the Army of the Light and the Lightforged. Both the Brotherhood and Scarlet Crusade are technically zealot as groups though. Both see the light above all else and follow it to an extreme. However, the Crusade was exclusionary and driven by their hatred in the majority of its practices, going as far to exclude those who have embraced the light based on the Crusade's moral standards. Mortal standards. The Brotherhood, on the other hand, is ever so slightly more inclusionary, as their practices take in those who have taken the light regardless of mortal standards. No emotion, no zealotry, no morals. Only those who have truly forsaken or misused the light are worthy of the Brotherhood's scorn. They share a very similar lack of ethics, which could be attributed to a certain set of flying crystals. They welcome all who embrace the light and convert who they can, willingly or not, and kill when the light requires it. The Brotherhood basically follow these ideals. The punchline is that they've followed these ideals since vanilla, before the Naru were introduced in the Burning Crusade. And where in lore I am not suggesting the Brotherhood is older than the Naru, in regards to the World of Warcraft timeline, the Brotherhood is one of the most extreme and longest lasting light-following factions on Azeroth, and I can guarantee you they are not good news. They may have been long-standing allies, especially with their relations to the Argent Dawn, but tolerating difference is not accepting difference. The Argent Dawn accepts difference. They do not follow the light with faith alone. The Brotherhood, on the other hand, follow the light with blind faith and do not accept anything and tolerate very, very little. Here's another quote. Watch your step, race. We of the Brotherhood of the Light are not as lenient as our brethren when it comes to meting justice to those who would do the world wrong. Woe unto those who would anger Corfax. Commander Eligor. That last part is a reference to Corfax, the NPC that will one-shot any DK in the Light's Hope starting area scenario. The rest of the statement, though, is pretty on point. During the Cataclysm, the Brotherhood of the Light slaughter the Scarlet Crusade at Tyr's hand. Now, at this point, the Scarlet Forces are risen. However, it's made pretty apparent the Brotherhood doesn't seem to care about them being undead. They don't even seem to care about the fact that they know many of the people they are killing. They only seem to care about them being Scarlet Crusaders. And just to be clear, these members of the Brotherhood are veterans of the war in Northrend, and would have likely fought with the forces of Arcturus, the Death Knights. Or, at the very least, they would have fought with allies they once would have considered monsters. So they know they're not dealing with mindless beings when it comes to the Risen. To throw in another quote just to reinforce how much disdain the Brotherhood has for the Scarlet Crusade, who technically perverted the ways of the light. There'll be no escape, there'll be no mercy. The last simpering vestiges of the Scarlet Crusade ends here. Now, I get it. Who cares about the Scarlet Crusade? Or the Risen? So what if they die? They've caused way more trouble than they're worth, and they can be easily considered monsters. But that's not the point I'm trying to get at. The issue is, we have a group of zealotous light-worshipping mortals who share the same beliefs of total obedience and unquestioning loyalty to the light as the Naru. The Naru who don't seem to understand not every person wishes to be healed. I mean, does the Brotherhood remind you of two particular groups of mortals that have been around for way too long? You know, Twilight's Hammer and the Cult of the Damned? Because for me, they remind me of both. The only difference is that instead of worshipping death or the void, they worship the light. And considering who both of those groups, the Cult of the Damned and the Twilight's Hammer, were harbingers for, the Brotherhood repeating that same trend shouldn't be that surprising, but is also quite terrifying in what they may be harbingers for. But, moving on, the Brotherhood also controls Stratholme, the city we the players cleared for them. The place in Cata, I kid you not, the Brotherhood proclaims. Stratholme may take some time to be rebuilt and fully cleansed, but it is an effort I will take great pleasure in watching unfold. Perhaps one day we will see the next great defenders of the light armed in the bastion of the Silver Hand, or ordained in Alonzo's chapel. No matter the outcome, our work here will bear great fruit one day. I get the feeling we're going to be seeing that day very soon. Stratholme, by the way, is also the city where the first paladins were created. The place Holy Water appears naturally for no apparent reason. The city of the recently returned Alonzo's Fowl, and the city that just happens to have a place called the Crimson Throne. I mean, does that name remind you of anywhere, by chance? I know that last part is a very big jump, but at the very least it indicates what this group could become in regards to future lore. And because the Quacks conspiracies are always there, it is a pretty well-known fact the Void, or at the very least the Old Gods, have been operating behind the scenes for quite some time. Though, with the slow revelations behind the light, and it apparently being the other half of the same coin, I ask, is it that hard to believe the light could have been doing the exact same thing as the void, just in a different manner? As in subversion, manipulation, propaganda, and maybe, just maybe, in the coming future, the light is trying to pull off something they spectacularly failed at in the past. I know that last part is a massive jump, But with the creation of Undead Kalia, the suspect meter went from a low "that's quacked" to a high "oh, I'm actually going to have to listen to the quacks now." Great. But if that's a bit too far south for you, 3 characters from the Brotherhood you're going to want to keep an eye out for are Eligor Dawnbringer, Archmage Angela Dos Santos, and Master Craftsman Omarion. Eligor Dawnbringer is a veteran paladin who managed to survive since the days of Alexandros Mograine, the original wielder of the Ashbringer, and one of the original horsemen of Naxxramas. Eligor has not only seen the Ashbringer in its prime, but he was also the go-between for the Scarlet Crusade and the Argent Dawn. He basically helped unite both factions when Naxxramas first appeared. He then survived Northrend and Naxxramas again, and during the Cataclysm, he helped you deal with the remaining Scarlet Crusaders and retaking Stratholme. Archmage Angela Dos Santos, on the other hand, was the original keeper of Atiesh, the Staff of the Guardian, and the current weapon of Khadgar. In vanilla, she was the person who sent players off to rebuild the legendary weapon. At the end of the quest chain, she aids in the cleansing of the staff, that only reappears later during Wards of Draenor, and Khadgar has miraculously recovered the weapon. Since the retconning of Medan, what actually happened to Atiesh and how Khadgar acquired the staff has become unknown, though with the introduction of the arcane legendary weapon Aluneth, the other staff of the Guardian Aegwynn, Medivh suddenly appearing in Karazhan, and the following whispers: "The Lord of Ravens will turn the key. The giant rook watches from the dead trees. Nothing breathes beneath his shadow." This is only exacerbated if you then consider the origins of the staff are very ambiguous, and if you consider Arzu, the arcane-based Raven Wild God from alternate Draenor, and actually any of the Arakoan gods thinking about it, and the exploration of Loa in Battle for Azeroth, relations to Atiesh start to become a very relevant topic. In particular, if the reassembly and purification of Atiesh, enacted by Archmage Dos Santos, a member of the Brotherhood of the Light, turns out to be canon. Master Craftsman Omarion is also another character from vanilla. He could be found within the original Naxxramas, and was the NPC who taught players how to create frost-resistant gear. Or he gave non-crafters his handbook so they could buy the gear. The reason he did this in the first place was, I quote, "It's my dying wish, my final desire. Please take this handbook. The information on its pages are a compilation of all I know and I have learnt in the past 30 some odd years of my miserable life." Omarion believed he was going to die. The thing is, he didn't. And he makes his return in the Cataclysm, appearing in Light's Hope Chapel, his disposition changing to this: "There are those who say the Argent Crusade is a thing of the past. I am one of them, but not because the Scourge have fallen. No, it is because of their stubborn ways. They've become too much like the church that they seceded from, too rigid, too governed by honor and order. This is what I'm trying to tell Bartholomew anyhow. Sure, it may sound a bit jingoistic, but it makes for a good debate. Minus the ambiguity of his return and his disposition, the one quest he sends you on is a very interesting one though. The description is as follows: "Noxious Glade is a quagmire, both literally and figuratively. There's enough scourge up there to give us trouble for the rest of both our lifetimes. They can reanimate the weaker ones when they die, name. They will never stop coming if we don't do something. Take these blades, and drive them through the corpses of any Scourge troopers you find. The blade is simple, but its enchantment will prevent the dead bones from being reanimated forever. And with that, you are given some light touch blades, and you stick them in the undead corpses, and bam, your quest is complete. If you don't know why this is extremely, and I mean extremely, important, it's because Amerian, or more precisely the Brotherhood of the Light, apparently have an enchantment that stops the dead from being reanimated. So, that kind of means the Arms Warrior weapon, most likely the Master's Glaive in Darkshore, as well as any other weapons that have some form of sword in the stone style equivalents, might be either A, enchanted with the light, or B, sealing something we do not want to disturb. But not only that, this could possibly be how the Titans imprisoned the old gods in the first place. And or it could be our way of stopping them from returning, reincarnating, reanimating, basically stopping them from regaining their physical forms long enough for us to eviscerate their ethereal spirits, souls, whatever the old gods have in regards to that form. The problem, once again, lies in the fact the light is gauging itself to make an enemy of us, the player, and the Brotherhood aligns with the light's ideals. So are we going to have to fight them to figure out how to stop the dead from coming back? Or are they going to help us and then betray us later on? Anyway, these three are long-standing characters who have been involved in very interesting events, and are all a part of the Brotherhood of the Light, a sect of the Argent Dawn who share very similar ideals with the Lightforge and the Naru, and follow the light to a zealotous degree. And as a whole, because the Naru and the Lightforge seem to be gauging towards an Inquisition or Crusade, it is highly likely the Brotherhood of the Light will join them as their ideals adhere to the light, and are very, very similar to those of the Naru. This is obviously speculation, but keep an eye out for these characters, because I get the feeling we're going to have to fight them, or they're going to become very important in future. Oh, and if you're after one more bit of coincidence that slightly relates to the Brotherhood of the Light, the Brotherhood of the Light is mainly stationed around the Eastern Plaguelands, and one of the most discussed whispers that came from Il'gynoth was 5 torches to light their way. And in the Eastern Plaguelands, there happens to be these 5 towers that happen to light up like this. I mean, I would find it hilarious if they turn out to be the 5 torches, but with everything I just said though, what's your opinion? Good speculation can't be done without community. Do you think it's plausible or possible? Leave a comment, I'd gladly read them. Or if you'd like to talk about this topic, come join me in the Shinies and Luckydos Discord. I'm usually there most of the time, and it's a good place for lore and speculation. If you did like the content though, like, subscribe, hit the bell, and I have Twitter, follow it if you'd like. And until next time, have a nice day.